Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla, and today we have quite a big book haul ahead of us. I should not be doing this. I should not have done this. I do this almost every single time to myself. Even during long periods of time, like months where I can't really read consistently, I still will read like an on and off book. But when I get back into the reading flow, like when I get back into the grind, like I am now of reading consistently, I get like this itch, this urge, this like need to buy more books, and I don't know what is wrong with me. On the bright side, you guys should be proud of me because I did venture into my first foray in a while into buying used books. I used to buy used books all of the time, especially online, but I hadn't done it in a while. Okay, I hadn't done it in a while. I do like the experience of going into a Barnes, having my little drink, doing my little browse, but I did try to buy secondhand this time, and I will say it's a mixed bag. I'll show you guys. Some of them are a little bit worse for wear. I don't know, maybe my expectations are like through the roof. But like I think I only picked one well-read one. The rest of them I wanted like good or very good, and some of them are a little beat up, but we're going to be keeping most of them. I'll just show you guys everything I got, plus I got a couple things just randomly here and there from random places. So grab a little snack, grab a little drink, and let me show you the 30 plus books. I think I have like 36 books here or something like that, books to show you. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm just gonna start with the pot right here. The first thing I have is Deep End by Howie Hazelwood. This one's actually so cool. It has the like sprayed edges. I love this one. I did end up seeing these characters in Problematic Summer Romance, which I just read, which is funny. And like, you know, when like an author is like writing something, you can just tell like by the specificity or like the way it's phrased, like this is important. Like this is the callback. This is like a niche reference for people who read previous works. I could tell. So I looked it up and I saw it was these characters. So hopefully I get to this soon. I can like see who these people really are besides the little cameo. The next couple books I got are part of all the same series, and that is the Dream Harbor series by Lori Gilmore. This is a small town romance book series that I've bought in from before, I think, on this channel, actually, like in one of my random barns or vlogs, whatever. It took me a while, actually. It took me a while to start the first book and get into it, but I've been reading it this year and it's been good. Believe this only like the second one, because what happened was, okay, let me actually like rewind all the way back. I randomly, I think it was during Black Friday, like a couple years ago, bought one of the books in the series. I forget, it might have been the third or the second. Either way, it wasn't the first. I just bought it because it looked cute. I didn't know it was part of a series. I pick it up, I'm gonna go read it. I go on Goodreads to log in and I realize, oh, you're not the first book. So I go ahead and I buy the first book. At some point, I owned the first 3 books, okay, in the series. I owned the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I owned the Cinnamon Store, and I owned the Christmas Tree Farm. However, the Christmas Tree Farm in my hand is not the original Christmas Tree Farm copy I owned because I left my Christmas Tree Farm copy in Cabo. I brought both of these two actually with me to Cabo, and I finished this one and I started this one literally on my last day. I should have just kept it in my fucking suitcase. But on my last day, like the night before we left, like the morning of, I was reading this in bed and then I left it in the bed and I'm devastated. So I had to rebuy it. I had the first 2, bought the 3, and then I bought just, you know, like let's get the rest of the series, just come on in. So I ended up getting all the books. I only have 5 of them here. I'm missing the Gingerbread Bakery, I think. It's the 5th book. It's the one I actually just read because I didn't own these up until a couple of weeks ago, so I've been reading them on KU. I didn't own them physically. So I read 3rd, 4th, and 5th on Kindle until I could buy the physical books, even though I had already owned the 3rd book. But anyway, but to go in order of the ones I got, it is the Christmas Tree Farm, which is book 3, the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, which is book 4, the Gingerbread Bakery, which is book 5, which is coming, and then the Daisy Chain Flower Shop, which is book 6. Next 2 books I have are my book of the month picks for June. So I picked my June book, which is one of the books that they had for the month, and then I had a for extra credit, so I got a second book. The first one is one of the June picks, and that is Main Characters by Bobby Palmer. I forget what this is about, but I love the color of this, a cute little green moment. And then I have And Now Back to You by B.K. Borson. This is the second book in, is it called The Caller series? Heartstrings. So the first one is called First Time Caller, and then this one is And Now Back to You. I have First Time Caller here, actually. So Now I can read them both. I've heard great things about them both. I read from BK before. We have more of her books to come shortly, so stay tuned for that. Next up, we have The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. I do not believe I've read an Ashley Winstead before, but one of her books that she has written, I believe it's called In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, is one of the favorite books of one of my favorite booktube creators, Bookstore, also known as Kayla, named twins. So I know of this author before, and I know she writes good stuff, and I heard a lot of people talking about this book recently. And then we have this weapon. And I truly mean that when I say weapon, because this can inflict actual damage on somebody. It's so thick and heavy, I can just... Now, why would I do that to myself? Okay. Anyway, this is freaking huge, and I'm sure you already recognize it. It is Alchemized by Sony. I have never read from this woman, to be clear, so I have no basis to say whether her writing is good or bad, but just based on the reputation in the greater fan fiction community, I am weighted by bated breath. And then another book that's been getting a lot of hype this year, 2026 release, Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke. I again don't know what this is. I know it has something to do with a trad wife, but it has people talking, it has people buzzing. I have seen this in like Goodreads, like most read of the week for like every week for ages now. So people are picking it up, and I want to too, because I am nothing if not a sheep. Real by Miss Kennedy Ryan. I first love this cover. I don't know if it's like doing justice on camera. I don't know what the sheen is on it, but it's like reflective and I love it. She wrote the Hoop series. I read the first in that one. I think, is it Long Shot, Hook Shot, Rock Shot, something like that, something shot. I also read Before I Let Go from her, which is another series of hers, and this is a new series she's coming out with, which it's something Renaissance series. I really need to come to these videos more prepared. I have not read any of her books before, but reading them, like, they have stood out to me so distinctly in terms of writing style and what she covers and how she says it, so I know this is going to be delicious food. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the books I got from other places like Amazon or Barnes, or just when I was wandering around and felt bored and wanted to spend money. So the rest of these are going to be the ones I got from World of Books. They are in a variety of different states of duress, so let's look at them together. The first one I got is Hood Feminism by Nikki Kendall. Yes, I got her name right, Nikki Kendall. I've been wanting to read this for so long. I'm sure you guys have heard of, if not at least seen this cover before somewhere in the nonfiction aisle. I was thinking this to myself a couple days ago, in that I don't really read books anymore for the sake of gaining knowledge. Obviously I don't want to read like textbooks and stuff, but when you're in school you're reading passages and articles and stuff that are gaining knowledge, and you're getting lectures and stuff, so I'm not really getting that anymore, and I want to kind of make an effort to read a little bit of nonfiction, explicitly not like memoir, but teaching me something books. So this is the first one that we're starting with. Next we have Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. This is a memoir. I for the longest time did not realize this was a memoir. I don't even know what I thought this was, to be honest. You'll notice a lot of these here are not like books I specifically want to read in this moment. Like a lot of those 2026 releases, a lot of them are like randoms that like I've been wanting to pick up, but they just happen to be there and cheap. This was one of those. I've been hearing that this is good. I've been hearing that this has some good life lessons and some good insights. Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I read my first Annabelle Monaghan last summer. It was an audiobook. I forget the name, it is escaping me at this moment, but I really enjoyed it. It was good, it was heartfelt, it was emotional, so I definitely wanted to pick more Annabelle Monaghan up in the future, and so I saw this one on there. I know I had to get it. Same Time Next Summer. Really see across the board people liking most of her books, so I'm sure this is going to be a hit. Another one that I'm sure is going to be a hit is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I've been wanting to pick up Frederick Bachman for a minute now. He is one of those authors that I feel like is just like one of those. I don't know how to explain it. They have a fantastic and generally well-loved bibliography, and like, why have you not read them? Essentially, it's kind of like the vibe you get when you see it. So I'm ready to venture in there. A bunch of his books were on there. I don't know why I picked this one in particular, but I do know that this one has a show, so I figured at the very least I can watch the adaptation. And speaking of adaptations, I also picked up The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dean. Oh, my bad, Laura Dave. sorry. And to be honest, I don't know what this is about. I originally thought that this was a thriller, and I may be right, so if not, disregard anything I say after this. But now that I'm hearing about the Apple Plus TV show, I'm wondering if this is more like a fiction, like a literary fiction. I'm not sure, but I know it's popular. Reese's book club pick, you already know, so we're gonna see. Next up is a kind of random pick for me. I don't really read much sci-fi, but nevertheless, I do want to expand my horizons. We do hard things and all that, so I picked up Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I actually have read from her before. I read Sea of Tranquility, but I read it back in 2020, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And this is her more popular book. It says national bestseller and a National Book Award finalist, so clearly it's doing something. Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This one's a little bit worse for wear. The cover's like flappy, but it's not too bad. This is lesson 1 of the Scholomans series, Dark Academia. I have not fully delved into the world of Dark Academia like I would like to. I know it's so weird considering summer just started, but I'm already like slightly salivating at some of the books I want to read this fall, and this will definitely be on there. Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I love the Target sticker that came on this one, little souvenir. I have been wanting to give Sarah Adams a go, or I guess I should say another go, for a minute now. I read one of her books before, which was The Cheat Sheet. This was a football romance, football and ballerina to be specific, and it wasn't bad. I think I gave it like a 3 or 3.5, but it wasn't really memorable. But people seem to love her. This came out a while ago, I believe. I mean, 2021, not too long ago, but this is one of her newer releases. People love her newer releases down. Like, she really has some stans and fans out here, and I love to be on a hype train, okay? I don't mind buying into the hype if it's worth it. So I got this. We're gonna see how it goes. The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. I believe this is the well-read one I got, and it makes sense because there's annotations all over this. I don't know why I got this book. I've heard of it before. Now that I'm seeing it, is this like academic literature? I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if I know it in that context, but we're just gonna roll with it. It was probably like $3. So I have Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the 3rd book in the, is it UCMH? This is a Maple Hills novel, and I have the first 2 right here, Icebreaker and Wildfire. Oh wait, I was right. It is UCMH. University of California, Maple Hill. I knew it. I was like, I didn't just pull it out of my ass. Okay, yes. Icebreaker and Wildfire. I read Icebreaker the year it came out and loved it down. Okay, this was like, I think one of my first, if not the first, hockey romance I read, and it was... And then Wildfire came out, which I never got to, and of course I have not obviously read Daydream, but that will now change soon because I have all 3 of them. I'm probably gonna give this a reread before I read the other 2, but I will, or hopefully, get to these soon. Okay, next up, I have a bunch of like thriller, horror, mystery type books. The fact that I'm grouping all those together and I know they're not all one genre is already disclosing and showing my lack of knowledge in this place. But as I mentioned a couple times already in this video, I really have been trying to test the waters a bit in what I'm reading and expand outside of my normal horizons. And I don't know, I felt like buying secondhand felt the most appropriate, because like when a book is like $3 versus $30, like it feels much better to like buy it and potentially not like it. Anyway, let's get into the ones I got. I just basically went trigger happy and picked up ones or anything I saw that looked vaguely familiar or from an author that I've heard before in like positive conversation. The first one I got is The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. I really don't have much else to say. I was gonna try to give a little spiel, but I don't have a little spiel to give. I think I'm just gonna run through these rapid fire. The next is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Of course, y'all probably have heard this one. This copy is definitely worse for wear. It's also a library copy, which I don't mind, but it's a paperback, which means like it's taped on here, which means I'm probably gonna be able to get this off. One by One by Ruth Ware. I specifically remember when this came out. I was watching a lot of booktubers at that time that read like thriller, horror, mystery. That was their thing, so a lot of people were talking about this. Another Megan Miranda with The Last to Vanish, and then another Ruth Ware with One Perfect Couple, and this is a hardcover, which I love. And then I told y'all we were gonna be back to Miss BK Borson. I ended up being able to get her entire Lovelight Farms series, which I am actually pleasantly surprised I was able to find. A lot of the series I was looking for, I could not find like the entire set. This was one like the only series I could find like the entirety of it when it was like reasonably priced. Like all of these were like under $5 or $7, I want to say. So my first BK, and only besides Ghost Spirits or Good Spirits, oh my god, I knew that was wrong, is Lovelight Farms. This I read a while ago, and I really liked it. I read it on KU. It is about a Christmas tree farm owner. And then of course she builds on that for the rest of the series. So I have In the Weeds, Business Casual, and Mixed Signals. I actually believe it's Mixed Signals, and then Business Casual is last. Business Casual does look like she has a little bit of wear and tear. But these are actually in pretty good freaking condition. Like, I am pleased. And then last but not least, one of the people I consider one of my all-time favorite authors is Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I wanted to invest more in having her books physically. I read a couple of her books on like Kindle or listened on audio, and then some of them I just didn't have, so I wanted to get a couple. First we have Daisy Jones and the Six. I have read this a couple times now. The first time in 2020, I vividly remember reading this during COVID, and I surprisingly have never owned it. I actually prefer the audio than reading because it's told very transcripty, like you guys can see it, and the audiobook is full cast, so it really feels like you're like listening to like a TV special or something. But I wanted it in my personal physical collection, so I got that. I got Carrie Soto is Back, which I read on digital. I read this the year it came out, and I remember loving it. I loved me some Carrie. I definitely need to reread this. I feel like I don't remember a lot of the details of it, but I just remember overall thinking like badass, yes, period. This is a library book, so she has some wrapping on her, so she's not looking the best, but I do think if I peel this off, as long as I can, I should be fine. I'm just worried about like stickers. And then Maybe in Another Life, this is kind of what I consider her like there's like a pre and post time of TGR in her writing. The Seven Husbands and the Daisy Jones and like the more historical fiction, rather even like atmosphere. I know it's like a romance, but it's still steeped in historical fiction. It's written a certain way. These are more like contemporary romance-y. And then finally, like I was talking about, I tried to rebuy two. Oh my god, I just moved, y'all. I'm so sorry. Seven Husbands and Malibu Rising. I wanted to buy them non-book of the month. I know I'm just weird like that, but especially if it's like an author I own multiple titles from and they're not all book of the month, because they can't all be, right? Because an author usually doesn't release like all of their titles on their book of the month. So, long story short, I want to get some, but I don't like quality of these, I'm not gonna lie. This book, like, it feels like it got wet or something. I don't know, it's like very stiff. And then Malibu Rising is a little bit better, but like still, like the corners are crinkled. I'm pretty sure this is the one. I found one of these and like one whole page was like flipped in half, so I had to like open it up and like put more books on top to like flatten it out. And yes, that was my little haul, or I really can't say that was a little haul. That was a humongous haul. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know, what should I read on here, okay? What are your thoughts on any of the books I listed? This is a lot of new reading material. Of course, I'm not planning on getting through all of this anytime soon, but I would like to know what you guys think I should start off with first. And yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah.